In the last episode of the Superglue series, I bring you the gruesome tale of a 6-year-old child who went missing after his tuition classes. The entire revelation, in this case, which transpired in Devaria district of Uttar Pradesh in India, would leave you overwhelmingly troubled. From the modus operandi to the perpetrator's motive and the shocking involvement of her family in concealment of the facts. It is just bizarre, to say the least. But before I start, I would just like to say thank you for the overwhelming support from you all. Please do feel free to comment on my videos if there's any other case that you want me to cover. I shall definitely work on it. But till then, I really appreciate that you guys are watching my content. And with that, if you're interested in the dark, please subscribe to my channel. It's Too Dark. On that note, let's relive this story. It was the month of July, the year 2022. 6-year-old Sanskaar had reached a little early for his tuition classes. The teacher, Nursing Sharma, would tutor kids in his locality for a meager income. When Sanskaar reached his class, the teacher was preoccupied with household chores, and therefore Sanskaar decided to wait and settled in. Since the other kids had not arrived, he thought of getting his chores done and starting the class when the rest of the kids reach his house. Nursing would conduct the tuition classes at his home where he lived, with his wife, son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. Tuition timings were well past over, but there was no sign of Sanskaar, and his parents were beginning to get worried. By late evening, all of the neighbors and relatives had begun searching the length and breadth of the area, but were not able to locate Sanskaar. It was around 9 o'clock when the local law authorities got involved and started an immediate investigation. The 60-year-old teacher, Nursing Sharma, and his entire family also helped in the investigation. What was particularly noticeable was the enthusiasm of Nursing's 20-year-old grandson, Arun Sharma. Arun was one of the many people who were searching for the missing boy in assisting the cops on their investigation. He suggested that more houses should be searched in the vicinity and had also allegedly found a ransom letter in the village fields demanding a sum of 500,000 rupees for the safe release of the child. No other information on receiving the said sum of money was mentioned on this note. The police were getting suspicious because Arun was being overly enthusiastic, and they asked for a handwriting analyst to match written notes from the house members to match the handwriting on the ransom note. No prizes for guessing. Arun's handwriting and cursive style was 100% match. Once the police took Arun into custody for questioning, what he revealed next upon interrogation would make you question your moral beliefs. Arun was an avid mobile gamer and would be immersed all day in playing PUBG. He was also addicted to an array of betting games where he used hard cash to play. Due to his growing addiction to such games, Arun was under tremendous mountain of debt. The rising amount of debt and the pressure that came along with it by the way of constant follow-ups from recovery agents was too much for him to tolerate, and Arun had tried to commit suicide a few months ago. He was not making a living, and the only other person he would manage to pester for money was his grandfather, Nursing Sharma. But both his grandparents were well aware of his addiction and had their grandchild's well-being in their mind, and hence they would scold him regularly and ask him to refrain from playing such games, instead of handing over any amount of cash to Arun. But Arun was totally oblivious to all this and had only blood on his mind and vengeance in his heart. He was so infuriated with his grandfather that he hatched a plan to trap him. Let's rewind back to the day when Sanskaar was last seen alive going for his study sessions to understand what had really happened to him. When Sanskaar reached early, Nursing Sharma was not even aware that the child had reached his house and was waiting for him. Arun started small talk with little Sanskaar before he could even enter and led him to follow and reach nearby the washroom adjacent to the house. Sanskaar righteously followed Arun. After all, he was just a little boy, unwary of the ways of life, who to trust and when to stay away from strangers. He trustfully followed Arun, following in his footsteps to where the laboratory was located. And as soon as he reached, Arun's onslaught began. He took Fevikwik, a superglue brand commonly available at Indian mom-and-pop stores, and applied it on Sanskaar's eyes and nose. All of this happening in front of the washroom within plain sight, but alas, no one was there to witness this entire episode. Sanskaar was in severe pain and started to scream at this point. That's when Arun realized that he needs to take him to a more secure location to safeguard himself, and therefore he threw him inside the washroom and continued his onslaught. He put Fevikwik all over his mouth so that he doesn't get any unwanted attention from the screams of this child. He then proceeded to tape the kid's eyes, mouth, and nose shut over the layers of dried out superglue. I cannot even imagine what a 6-year-old might have felt if he had to go through such a heinous act. What could possibly be going on inside the mind of someone capable of carrying out such a crime, let alone with a child? Little Sanskaar was gasping for breath now that all his airways were blocked out. Sensing that his end was imminent, his body became high on adrenaline, and he mustered all his strength into fighting for his life. He started vigorously punching and kicking his assailant. That's when Arun made his last move and tied Sanskaar's hands and legs with shoelaces and left him in the washroom to pass away, succumbing to his injuries. It was later revealed that Arun's parents were fully aware of their son's doing and had tried to hide the episode completely from the law enforcement authorities. Arun and his parents were sent to jail soon after. Superintendent Sankalp Sharma deserves a special mention here, as the entire case was solved by the police in less than 12 hours. That brings me to one question. Who is actually responsible for Sanskaar's untimely demise? Is it the grandparents for aggravating Arun? Or is it the parents for not disciplining him enough? Or is it just Arun for acting on his whims? Do let me know in the comment section what you think. As Sanskaar's story concludes, let's vow to never forget his tragic fate, using it as a reminder to stand against injustice and protect those who cannot protect themselves. Until then, stay sharp, stay safe.